So I didn't really have a good feeling when it came to these CPS workers because they literally came in my house. Susan Hilburn took my children away immediately without notice, without a phone call, without even visiting the children or my home first. She just couldn't get past my gate at the end of my driveway, so that gave her grounds to take my kids away, supposedly, because she couldn't get to us. Patches McQueen, Susan Hilburn's boss, has my phone number personally, has all my text messages for 3 years now when I've been texting her. But guess what? She has been ignoring me ever since. Ever since Susan Hilburn got assigned this last case, she has ignored every text message and every phone call.
I mean, they literally had nothing. When it came to a head, they took our kids for no reason. And that's what we're trying to get at here. If somebody took your kids for no reason, you don't even want to imagine that. But I want them to imagine that. And I don't know if Susan Hilburn has any children or not. I don't really care. I don't think she cares to have any kids either. But that's one of the things that strikes my nerves. If somebody tried to take her kids, she would probably go way more crazy than what I did. They would probably have actual allegations that would be facts and good reasons to take her kids away. She probably wouldn't even be able to foster kids if she wanted to. She's not fit. She's not mentally fit. She's got a criminal background. And there's no telling how many other CPS workers are the same way. And they know who you are because you're on Facebook, you're on the internet, or they're your friend or an ex-friend. They're a friend of someone who don't like you. They'll try to start something against you. All they need is one phone call, somebody to say, these people need to be checked on. They'll start a case against you. Just out of pure animosity, these CPS workers have the authority to start a case against you and try to take your kids. And sometimes they can do it for no reason whatsoever. It happened to us. You can take my word for it. You can look through the case and see that any allegations were false. They had no leg to stand on. They were pissing in their own boot the whole time. So screw them and screw their whole company because it's just sick. It's like child trafficking. When you take kids against their will, against the parents' will, and there's no reason, there's no legal cause, there's no legal papers, that's human trafficking. And a lot of people that are involved with CPS have been charged. Not only charged, but prosecuted and went to prison for human trafficking. So get that imprinted into your brain the next time a CPS worker knocks at your door. Don't speak to them without an attorney. Don't let them talk to your kids. Don't let them in your house. Call your attorney. If they have a warrant, there's nothing you can do. That means they might have some kind of probable cause. Maybe. But you're still going to call your attorney and don't talk without him. That's probably the best advice I can give you.
I did a little bit of my own investigative work. I decided to do background checks on Susan Hilburn and everybody else. And lo and behold, Susan Hilburn is not a good person to be working for CPS. Why, you may ask? Let me show you. Susan has been charged with possession in the past, DUI, assault, traffic violations. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And you can see right now from these screenshots that this woman with this background should not even been allowed to be a social worker in the first place. I don't know how all this got pushed under the radar, but I decided to take it to court with me. And when I handed it to my lawyer, because we were 5 minutes late for court, that was the only day we were late, Susan Hilburn was testifying when we walked in. I slid the papers to my lawyer and he was like, now, anything that's outside of court, I'm going to tell the law, anything that's outside of court that's hearsay, that's not about the CPS case, you cannot bring up in court. You can object to it and it will be thrown out. But we knew bringing up Susan Hilburn's background history, at least the judge would hear it. At least she would hear it in her ear, even though they would object to all of it. So my lawyer started asking her, did you get charged with this? Did you get charged with that? What about when this happened? Now, when he asked all these questions, she didn't answer because, you know, her lawyer objected to it. She got red as hell in the face. Everyone was about to shit their pants. Everybody. They had no idea that I was about to bring this up in court. I decided when I did a background check, let me check her Facebook profile. I'm just gonna snoop and see what pages she likes and see what groups she follows and stuff like that. And I found a little bit. I found some weird mom pages she was following. I found the ridiculousness in the Jersey Shore page she follows. So obviously she's a big MTV fan. And she obviously has been following us for a while. One big victory that we did have for this whole case was the best witnesses. They brought Jace's teacher in to testify. She had nothing wrong to say about Jace. She said, I even see Jenelle and David pick up Jace regularly and they're not arguing. We have no problems. We had Kaiser's teachers testify who stuck up for us, said they're well dressed, they're well fed. The kids don't complain when they come to school about life at home. They're fine. Then we had the child support worker that was in the office. Now, when we went into one of our supervised visits by CPS, she pulled us to the side after the visit, the child support worker in the CPS office, and she said, I need to talk to you guys about child support because, you know, when custody gets temporarily taken away, you have to pay child support. I'm kind of shook it up, and David was talking to her for a while before I got in there, and David was like, nah, she's cool, she just wants to know our story. So I told her our story and what was going on, and she told me behind closed doors, she said, listen, I'm in this office all the time, and I just want to let you two know that they talk about you. They talk about you and David all the time. They talk about how he made tweets online. They talked about the videos he posts on the internet. They talk about everything. Like, we're the talk of the office. Before any CPS case was even open, she said this was going on for months. So then we asked her, would you be brave enough to testify? And she said, yeah. And she testified for us. And she told the judge, she said, listen, for a while they've been talking about Jenelle and David, and they won't stop. And they're so intrigued by it that they can't stop. And thank you if you're watching. So, court was winding down, coming to an end. They testified, everybody. And after all the testimonies and the very last second, I figured, okay, since, you know, she heard another 2 testimonies, we're just going to have to probably wait another week and then she's going to give us a decision because she probably has to think about it all. Well, it comes down to the end of court and she goes, okay, are all of you done? And we're like, yeah. She's like, no more testimonies from anybody. We said no. And she's like, okay, this case is dismissed. That quick, boom. I'm like, oh my God. She must have made her decision the day before that, or 2 days before that, or a week before that. I don't know. But me and David just started crying. My lawyer looked at me and he said, everything they had against you from before, they can't use against you anymore. And to hear that, I was so happy. I felt so accomplished. I was like, fuck all of you. Like, fuck Fuck everyone who doubted me. Fuck everyone that called me a bad mom. Fuck you for causing me this depression. Fuck you for traumatizing my kids. Fuck you. I fucking win.
Well, I'm not really sure that anything you have to say is going to matter at this point. But if you can't get Marissa under control, then it might be a problem on your end. I've always been able to keep control of her. Now, if she has some sort of emotional outburst where she's not able to control herself, then we can consider getting a professional involved. Other than that, you may need to learn how to relay things to her that are positive other than negative about her father, and it would be easier on her. Don't ask her too many questions. Talk to her like a child and let her know that it's just going back to normal life. And if she can't deal with it, we'll get a professional involved.
Yeah, I haven't said anything negative about you, but...
Oh, you have?
No, I haven't. I don't talk to Melissa about you.
Well, someone's
in a negative manner.
Someone has persuaded her to say a lot of things that are not true. So, where did it come from?
Nobody ever has persuaded her to do anything. We told her to tell the truth. That's it.
Well, why don't you tell me where it came from then?
I don't live in your home, so...
Well, it didn't come from my home. That's why I'm asking you. You're the one who's persuaded her to say certain things.
I haven't persuaded her to do anything except tell the truth. That's all I've done.
Okay.
That's all I've done.
Did you take
I
it some
haven't asked her no questions. I haven't told her anything. I haven't, that's all I've done.
All right, well.
But anyway, I'll let her talk to you.
Yeah, I haven't talked to her in a couple of weeks. That'd be nice.
Okay. Hello?
Hey, sweet pea.
Okay.
Hey, haven't talked to you in a while. Can you talk to me again now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did someone tell you not to talk to me before?
No.
No? Well, you don't have to be upset, honey.
I'm scared I'm gonna get in trouble when I get over there.
Have you ever been in trouble? Marissa, you need to come on back to realization. Come on back to real life here. When have you ever gotten in trouble that you needed to be scared of? Can you tell me one time you've ever been in trouble that you needed to be scared of? What does being in trouble mean to you at my house? Please tell me. What's that?
Yelling?
What?
Yelling?
Yelling? Have I yelled at you before? Have I
Yes.
I've yelled at you? Or I've gotten a loud tone of voice? Because there's a difference. Have anything to be scared of no matter what you did. But getting on the stand is not what we're here to talk about right now. We're talking about you just coming on back to the house. What's that have to do with court? That has nothing to do with court. You don't need to think about court. We're not going back to court ever.
It's done.
You will never have to go and tell any more things about me in court. You'll never have to tell things that are not true. You told some things that were not true, and I don't know if you might not realize that. But we'll talk about it if you want to. If you don't want to, we won't. It's not anything that's gonna make you in trouble, whatever you think trouble is, because you've never been in trouble at my house, and I have never yelled at you. I don't know what you're even talking about. You've never been yelled at by anyone at my house.
Are you gonna let me see my mama, my Danny?
Number one, the first thing you need to do is calm down and stop crying. Because if going to your Ganny's house the thought of going to your Ganny's house is upsetting you, then maybe you shouldn't go back over there. Because no one's ever kept you from going to your Ganny's house. Ever. Why would that even cross your mind? Can you tell me? Because someone else said it?
No.
Oh, but it is because someone else said it. I've never said it. Have I ever said that?
I was just asking you a question.
You don't have to ask me a question you already know the answer to. You've had your phone. You've went there every weekend. You talk to them all you want. Why would you ever question being able to go back to your Ganny's house? And you already know that no one's trying to keep you from your Ganny. You can go see your Ganny all you want to. I don't care. But you need to focus on is doing what I tell you is right from wrong. Not what your Ganny says. Definitely not what your mother says. You need to focus on what I tell you is right from wrong. And you can go see your Ganny on the weekends. And your mom will be there. You don't argue with the situation. Just stay calm. You're making a problem in your own mind that doesn't even exist. Like you're crying and sobbing when nothing has ever happened to you. If you want to go over some stories about some things that happened to me when I was a kid that will make you cry, then you might realize that there's a reason why you should cry. But right now, you're just sobbing and crying and putting on a show for absolutely no reason. And just for everyone who's listening to know that we are recording this conversation also. So don't just stop putting on a show or a facade like there's a bunch of problems. Like what you still have not, to this day, after so many weeks, you have not given anybody a reason why you are upset and why you're scared or why you're crying right now. Marissa.
Yes.
You need to calm down. If you can't calm down, we're going to take you to the doctor. You understand? We're picking up Inslee right now. You want to talk to her? You want to talk to Rissa? Rissa's on the phone. Come here, babe.
And Marissa, I feel like she was so overwhelmed by everyone saying so many things at the same time that she literally would just start crying and she would run away. She did it when she was testifying. She did it when, every time we had a visit. They made it very hard on her. I feel like they pressured her into a lot, and they pressured her into testifying. She could have said no, but I think they told her it would be beneficial to her, but it actually wasn't, because we caught her in some lies on stand, which I'm not sitting here trying to call a child a liar, and I'm not trying to put Marissa down. It was little things that the lawyers caught, that she would be lying about, but I understand she was trying to please both parties at the same time, and she was probably very confused what was the correct answer, and I think she was fishing for the right answer for the person that was asking her the question, and that was a big issue.
Say hey.
I want to see.
You are seeing.
What are you doing?
It's Inslee. Say hey.
Okay.
You can't take my phone.
I want a picture.
You want a picture? Okay.
Yeah.
Wake up, Daddy's sleeping. Now we're dancing. Hey, you guys. Sorry it's so loud out here. We got a lot of weird animals. We have these big bugs, and they make a lot of noise. I forget what they're called. David told me yesterday. I just don't know. But, I am just kind of irritated right now. I mean, I had the custody case dismissed. I had the CPS case dismissed, and, you know, we went and got Ensley. We're in Kaiser tomorrow. We're in Marissa tomorrow. But I come back home, you know, I spend time with Ensley. It was awesome. You know, I'm still, you know, she's asleep now. But we watched a movie, and David fell asleep, and Ensley was starting to fall asleep. So I was like, okay, I'm going to put her in her crib. You know, like we normally do. So I go to put her in her crib, and she immediately starts to scream. She thought that I was leaving her just by putting her in her crib to go to sleep. And then I go to close the door to leave it cracked, you know, like I normally do. And she starts freaking out, like, hyperventilating, crying. And it's like 10:30 right now, and I'm like, you gotta go to bed, like, what's wrong? I go back in there when she's crying, and she says, don't shut the door, don't shut the door. And I said, don't shut the door? She said, yeah, don't shut the door. And I was like, okay. And then that made me remember that my mom, supposedly she says she hasn't, but when we were on FaceTime with Jace during this whole CPS thing, my mom said, I'm going to go take a shower. And then all of a sudden, Ensley was locked in the room, in Jace's room, with the door shut, freaking out. And I'm asking Jace, I'm like, why is Ensley crying? And he's like, oh, Meme put her in the room. I said, what? He said, yeah, she locked her in the room. She does that when she takes a shower sometimes. I said, what? And then that is why we called 911 on my mom. Reported that my daughter was locked in the room, and that's how that happened. It just goes to show that it really did happen, because now my daughter doesn't even want me to crack her door when she goes to sleep. She's petrified of being shut in a room. And this pisses me off so bad, because it was my own mother who did it. At least now I can keep Ensley away from my brother, who's crazy. So that's good. After going through the CPS stuff, you know, I was really scared to go to court with my mom the first time, the second time. But now with the lawyer I have, I am not scared at all. I don't care. Bring whatever you have against me, because I'm good. After the CPS thing, I'm good. And I know that I am. And after all of this, I just can't believe this happened. It's really crazy that this ever happened. That's what pisses me off so bad. Because never in a million years I thought that they can take allegations from fans and use it in court. Like, that's not people who know me personally. And yeah, it is all said and done. Yeah, it did get dismissed, but it really bothers me. Because this might happen again. I don't know. Could happen at any given time. All it takes is one fan reporting, and they just run with it. It's like, I don't even know if Teen Mom was ever worth being on. Because you gotta think about all the stuff I went through, and I'm not even on the show anymore. I'm still going through it. I don't know. I just came out here to put the chickens back in the coop, and wanted to report to you guys how I feel. Because I just tried to put Ensley to bed, and she just did not act like she normally does or did. It hurts my feelings that my kids are emotionally getting hurt by this. CPS placed Kaiser with his dad, who has supervised visits. They placed Marissa with her mother, who has supervised visits. They placed Ensley with my mom, which is okay, but I asked for her to be transferred to my friend Katrina's house in South Carolina. They said, oh, no, we're not doing that because you ran off and took off to Katrina's house when CPS was trying to get the kids. Well, you didn't have a signed petition by the judge saying that I'm going to have my kids taken away. So I didn't run. I was hanging out with my friend Katrina. She just bought land. She always lives in South Carolina. That's where I go all the time when I hang out with friends. I have a very small group of people. And sometimes, well, in one of the closing arguments today from the CPS lawyer, he's like, as you can see, they only had one friend to come testify. Because I keep a small circle, bro. Keep a small circle. And I guess you can kind of figure why. Because I was on this fucking show. Oh, and the CPS lawyer kept calling the show a movie. He'd be like, oh yeah, and that movie you star on. I'm like, I've never starred on no movie. That'd be cool though. I can be like Kristen Stewart's double or something. The parent class teacher we had, she was amazing. I would suggest her to anyone, even if you're having like co-parenting issues or counseling issues. She's definitely one to go to. And David's anger management counselor is the same as my domestic violence class counselor. So I liked her a lot, and I thought she was awesome too. David did anger management, even though it wasn't even required. So we did everything we were asked to do, and none of it was even required. None of it was ordered by the judge or anything. But you know what? That's what makes you a better person, and that's what makes you a better parent.
So life with the kids after the dismissal was great. And it was about to be July 4th, and we took them out to the lake. We took them tubing. Kaiser and Ensley got to see some chickens that were hatching that I finally got to show them. They got to be back home and swim in the pool and just be home and enjoy family time.
Emily, there's more slimy in these eggs. Did you know that?
More chicks.
Mom, Daddy, see?
I mean, to everyone out there that thinks you can't handle it when you're low and when you feel like you can't go anymore, you can do it. It was so hard for everything I went through within that 2-month period that I was so depressed, but you can do it. If I can do everything I just did, you can make it through it.
Now that everything's back to normal, things are probably better than they were before. We're more aware of the things people might try to do to us. I mean, I know Jenelle and I, we split up for a couple of months, but she just had to go party and get it out of her system. She realized life is not greener on the other side. It's more fun at home with me. Go fishing and stuff. I mean, as a whole, I think the family really gets along better since all that happened. I mean, it was kind of traumatic to everyone. The kids were gone for a while. So when the kids came home, they were so happy to be here. Ainsley's like, oh, my bed, my bed, my bed. Kaiser's like, oh, my room, my room, my room. I mean, they kept going on and on about their toys and how they missed the toys and how the chickens and the pool, and it was like, for, I don't know, several days, they were just overwhelmingly joyous about being home. And Inslee, she would start, at first she was kind of scared at nighttime, and she would say like, oh, don't close my door, don't close my door. We usually never close our door. It's usually open, so the light can shine in a little bit, you know, but, you know, Kaiser was expressing to us before he even came home how bad he wanted to be back here. He would always say in the phone calls that he wanted to come home. He made that very clear. And he made it very clear that he loved me and missed me, and he wanted to be home. So, I mean, I'm glad it worked out the way it did, but it didn't have to go down like that. And if we had have called an attorney the very first day they came to our house, then things would have been different. And you know, that's one thing. You have the right to not let anyone in your house. A lot of times people don't understand, because the CPS worker will tell you that if they get a call that they have to investigate, but they don't. And you have the right to privacy. So if it's not a legitimate concern that they can go and get a warrant, then you don't have to speak to them. That's why the best thing to do is get an attorney. You can convey to your attorney what's going on. The attorney can talk to them if need be. You can set up an appointment and your attorney can be there at the very least. You know, if that's what you feel like you need to do. So there's ways around letting them just jump right in and start a case against you. It's just the same as if a cop on the side of the road starts asking you questions. You don't have to give them information to build a case against you. You can just not speak. So that's the best advice for that. But out of the whole situation, the worst thing, you know, is just being away from the kids. It really changed us, and I hope it doesn't happen to any of you guys.
So fast forward to today. Today is great. I feel a lot better. I know a lot of you followed me separating from David and wondering why I did that. And again, it was because of David's anger issues. I mean, he went and got anger management when he had to, and we just couldn't get along, couldn't see eye to eye. So I thought maybe it was best if I moved away from just everything that happened, because I had so many bad memories that I just wanted to get away. And now I feel so much better being at home, starting fresh, and me and David are closer than ever. We get along so much better now, I feel like, than we ever have before. That's it. That's a wrap. I hope you guys like this docuseries, and thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe to my page, and I don't know, we'll check in next time.